Welcome to This Week in East Brunswick. Today we visit the Daniel Pearl Education Center at Temple B'nai Shalom to hear from a Holocaust survivor as she shares her story as a young girl in Auschwitz. Then Al Nigran continues the New Jersey Film Festival Filmmaker interview series as the director of the documentary Backwater sits down in studio to talk about his film. Sharon Riley Morosi brings us a new voice of experience as she sits down with a representative from AAA to talk about how to be a safer driver and avoid distractions. All this, plus we have information on the upcoming India Day celebration and more taking place here at the library. So stay with us. This Week in East Brunswick starts now.
We've been bringing a group of both children and adults down to the Holocaust Memorial. This is our 12th year of doing it. We thought that it would be an excellent opportunity for people to see what Holocaust and genocide is all about, and considering the spirit of Daniel Pearl and what he thought was important, we thought it was a fantastic opportunity to teach about the man's biggest injustice to man. And that's what we do, and it's been a tremendous success. We've taken more than 1,000 people to the museum. We partnered with St. Bartholomew's Roman Catholic Church in East Brunswick, and they've been our partner since the beginning. So they've come with us on every trip, and then we reach out to other different groups throughout the community. We've had participation from the Baptist Church in East Brunswick. This year we had the Presbyterian Church from Metuchen. We've had different ethnic teen societies come with us, and we have a group of kids usually from the high school in Mr. Ganji's Holocaust education class that come with us, and they came again this year also. And we arranged to have a Holocaust survivor come and speak with them, and we have someone this evening that's going to talk with them about what it was like to be part of the Holocaust. And even though now, at that time, she must have been a small child, but there's still, the stories are just incredible, and they have to be documented, and people have to remember.
Well, I was invited to come to the school and talk about my Holocaust experiences because yesterday the class and other children went to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., and she thought it would be good for them to see somebody who really lived through the experience, not only what you see in a museum. In my town, there were 5,000 children, Jewish children, in the beginning of the war. At the end of the war, there were 4 left. You can just picture it, just put it into your head. 5,000 children, because the families were very large. 4 were left. How do we find each other? We all came back after the war to where it started, without ever having said we would do that. Just to come back, 4 came back. From 15,000 Jews, 300 came back. 300 people. There are not too many like myself left. I'm 70, almost 78. And everybody else who's older is not able to talk, and many people don't want to talk. I feel it's very important so that first we shouldn't forget, then nobody should ever say that it didn't happen. And then to understand what hatred can do. This is the ultimate hatred of one person or one group of people towards another. I'm sitting upstairs with my mother. She has her hands on my like this, very, 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 very tightly. For weeks later, I had black and blue marks here. She was afraid that I would give away our hideaway, which I wasn't going to. But she would, and from the little window, it was the end of all the children. All the kids I played with, I didn't know adults, you see, I knew children, all gone on this wagon. And I knew where they were going. I knew where they were going. And I watched as mothers and fathers who were standing outside by those wagons were holding onto the children. Sometimes there was such a tug of war that the kids were dismembered, 2-year-old, 1-year-old children, and pieces were put on the wagon. And I couldn't hear much. I heard noise. I couldn't hear words. I'm not even sure I understood it. I don't even know what language they spoke. Probably Polish and German, I don't know. But some of the parents were like begging, whatever. So the good German would take them and let them go on the wagon. And the parents, it was one mother especially that I looked at her, was holding her children like that, and she was going together with them. This lasted for hours and hours. It got a little dark, and then the wagons were away. I could hear the wagons go, and then we heard shooting, and we knew what was happening. What I really want to do is to take these children and take them on a journey with me through the experience of a child in the Holocaust, because I was very young, but I was very lucky because my mother was with me most of the time, not all the time. And she talked a lot to me throughout the whole experience so that I remember it extremely well. And I want them to understand what it feels like, what it feels to be hungry, what it feels to be scared, what it feels to see people dying, your family being killed, so that this kind of prejudice should be on their uppermost thoughts, that if we allow this to happen, it may even happen in their lifetime, and they have to just be very vigilant. This is my purpose. My purpose really is to help those children, sort of educate them in a certain way.
It's almost uniform amazement. It's more than just. It's not something that you really like to do, but it's the amazement and the education value, and their eyes are so wide open by the end of the day that they're pretty awestruck by the entire experience. And we stopped. We also stopped this year. We stopped at the Martin Luther King Memorial on Martin Luther King Day. We also always go to the Lincoln Memorial to stand right where Martin Luther King gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. And then we go to the Vietnam Wall Memorial, where we have a Vietnam vet also give them a small talk as how it was like to be in Vietnam back in the war.
Although the Holocaust was specifically a Jewish issue, in my opinion, it's happening now in different parts of the world. People are still killing each other. Children are still starving. People are still in some kind of detention camp somewhere. So although it doesn't have that same grandiosity, you may say, or big scale, the injustice and killing and meanness, it's just going on every day. And I think that people who care have to be aware of it. First, I would like them to be a little bit vigilant what hatred and prejudice can do, that you can't leave it up to somebody else to take care of it. That if you see real injustice, whether at home or in school or in any group, that it's really up to you to speak up. And it was freezing winter. We had very little clothing, and we were walking. And says, I am walking. I'm in the back with a little girl, Tutu. We had partners. And I hear my name, my real name. Nobody knows my name but my mother. So I hear her, and she says, where are you going? I said, to the crematorium. And she screams, and the other women, we were passing a women's camp, screaming, crying. I turned to the little girl. I said, why are they crying? Doesn't every child go to the crematorium? What are they making this fuss? I was 6 already, So we're walking to the crematorium. It's the way it is. It's got steps down. You go down steps. You go into a room about 5 times the size. It's cement floor, cement walls, and hooks everywhere. And they tell you to get undressed. It was another room. There was the empty room. Remember where your things are, because when you come out, you'll get dressed. It was the same story. Everybody didn't believe, but wanted to believe that they're coming out. I looked at my clothing. I had something, I don't know what I wore, shoes, whatever, and I'm naked. All the kids are naked, and it is so cold. It is so cold that it's hard to believe, and we're turning blue, standing outside like that, and I don't know what happened. They sent us back. They told us, I have all kinds of theories, but none of it works, so I don't know. On the way back, it's dark already, and the parents are outside yelling, what happened? And I remember saying this, they couldn't do it this time. They will get us next time. Well, I'm just very grateful that I'm allowed to talk and that I'm invited. I've been invited to many, many schools, and I speak in colleges, synagogues, I speak in churches. And I'm just grateful because every time I speak to a group of people, I know that somebody there may one day, or even now may have some power, either financial power or intellectual or political, that it maybe there can be some kind of hope for our world, so it shouldn't happen again. January 27th, 1945, I was there when the Russians liberated Auschwitz, I and my mother. That was the end and the beginning.
Hello, everyone. It's Al Nygren, director of the New Jersey Film Festival, back here with the second of our Filmmaker interviews for the Spring 2016 New Jersey Film Festival, which will be taking place at Rutgers University between January 30th and March 4th. We'll be screening films at 7 p.m. on select Friday, Saturday, and Sunday evenings between those dates. And you can get complete information about our festival at our website, which is www.njfilmfest.com. Or you can call us at our hotline at 848-932-8482. Leave a message and we'll call you right back. Today, we have the director of a wonderful environmental documentary entitled Backwater. His name is Jonathan Kors. Welcome, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Jonathan, I was able to watch your film again, and I was struck by how blissfully serene it is. And people don't know that it takes place in the Meadowlands, which is the swamps of Jersey, I guess that Springsteen refers to. How did you embark on this project?
Well, you know, when I moved to New York, I used to live in Alaska. And so when I moved to New York, it was kind of a big shift. And I kept finding myself looking for these kind of like wilderness pockets. And when I was flying into Newark one day, you know, somebody else had just mentioned this earlier, you just see this like kind of whole landscape that's like kind of hidden when you're actually in New Jersey or heading to Manhattan. And so I started looking at this place in much more detail. And then over time, I realized that the New Jersey Meadowlands had the highest concentration of artificial flavoring factories in the world. And so the original project started out as this sort of Marco Polo-esque adventure, visiting, you know, the spice trade or the artificial, you know, the 21st century artificial flavoring or 21st century spices. And so it was going to be this canoe trip that basically went from artificial flavoring factory to artificial flavoring factory. And then that idea kind of evolved over time to kind of get at the core of it, which was kind of my interest in this sort of recovering wilderness area and this particular oasis or abyss that kind of disappeared within the public view.
Well, you know, a lot of people consider the Meadowlands the lungs of the city of New York because you have supposedly all of this growth and that absorb the pollution from the city. And yet, I guess what's neat about your film is that you take it on as a mission. You have how many people on the mission with you?
Yeah.
And you take canoes and you have provisions as if you're going on a camping trip, you know, or an adventure.
Absolutely, yeah.
And yet at the same time, I was struck by how much debris you came across on this adventure. You know, it's supposed to be the lungs of New York, but it's like somebody who's been smoking for 30 years. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what folks can expect from your very wonderful film.
Well, you know, it's basically a group of 7 of us spending 10 days on the Hackensack River, starting at the headwaters and then canoeing all the way down to Newark Bay. And, you know, it takes us, you know, I guess, 10 days. And over the course of those 9 nights, each night we kind of experience a different part of the river, a different aspect of the river. And that can be from changes in the tide. At one point, one of our campsites got flooded. To another point, we ran into kind of a random wilderness fire. And so it was this constant, like, battle between the elements and what was surrounding us from, you know, both the city of New York and in New Jersey.
But do you consider your film a kind of environmental film or a politically environmental film? Is it making a statement, or is it just what it is?
I mean, I think it is making a statement. I don't know if it's necessarily making an environmental statement in the strictest sense, but it's the discussion that I'm kind of interested in is kind of looking forward. So we're at this current stage where we're starting to consider the environment that we're living in to belong to the Anthropocene, so this geologic era made by humans. And so if we're at this point, within this environmental struggle between wanting to go back to where we were, which increasingly seems less likely, to kind of giving up because the problem seems unsolvable, my film is kind of looking at that middle path. Like, what is the value in an area that has either been destroyed or is a recovering wilderness area, and what does that wilderness look like moving forward?
Yeah, and I think the fact that you see that, and one of the elements that after seeing the film a couple of times, is how peaceful the film is. The hustle and bustle is right around the corner. I mean, there's one point where you're right next to the New Jersey Turnpike rest stop. I remember that rest stop. I've stopped there many times. And right behind there is, it's so quiet, it's so peaceful, and it's so antithetical to what's all around it. So that's why I asked if you thought it was an environmental film. And I guess on the one hand, hats off to the fellow who shot the film.
Yeah, there were a couple of people. Yeah, they did an excellent job.
A really beautiful film. It looks wonderful. And to the other players, too. I really like the first-person introductions that you have at the beginning of the film, so we get to know who's there. And how did you pick those guys?
It was kind of random. It was people that had expressed interest, people that, we were kind of trying to find a team. Each person kind of had their own specific role. And so people that kind of fit.
So they weren't buddies and, that kind of thing?
No, it was like a fairly new team.
Gotcha.
I was kind of the only person that was the connection between everybody.
I told you that when I first started filming myself off the New Jersey Turnpike, a state trooper came right up and said, "Oh, you can't film here."
Right.
Did you run into some situations like that as well in your film?
Yeah, constantly. And to get back a little bit at the rest area, one thing that we found that was kind of shocking is that we could be camping just 100 feet from the turnpike, and we could be in our own world, and the turnpike was in its own world. And nobody noticed us. And it's while we were in the Meadowlands, we were kind of like hidden from the world. And the minute we kind of came close to that edge where like the Meadowlands hit civilization, we immediately ran into trouble. And so we did have run in with landowners, with the police, and it was always this like kind of awkward conversation between what is public, what is private, what is legal, what is illegal.
Yeah.
And so it was always kind of interesting, and people for the most part were really understanding, though confused.
Well, the jury really loved your film, and folks,
thanks.
you're going to love it too. We're going to be screening this film on Friday, February 12th, and John Kors will be there to do a Q&A and introduce the film. So folks, please come and join us. Again, Friday, February 12th at 7 p.m. in Voorhees 105 at Rutgers University campus in New Brunswick, New Jersey. General admission is $12 for the general public and $10 for students and seniors. Please come and join us. And thanks so much for listening, and thanks so much for coming.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Stick it in our bucket. There we go. Sweet. It's beautiful.
We are right around here. So here is the highway. So we're going to paddle against the wind, so it'll be a little bit rough in the beginning. Basically, we're going to have to go over here, and then we can go get some more water. All right, our boats are drifting away.
Hello everyone and Namaste. I am Aditi Agarwal, and on behalf of the Indian Cultural Society of East Brunswick, I am here to invite you to our India Day celebration, which will be held at the library on January 31st from 2 to 4 p.m. This program is brought to you by the Indian Cultural Society of East Brunswick in partnership with the East Brunswick Public Library. Since its inception in 1999, ICS has provided a platform for the Indian Americans in the area to gather and celebrate cultural events and holidays and promote cultural awareness as well as give the community a channel to participate in charitable causes. The goal of India Day is to celebrate Indian heritage with our community. This event is open to all members, non-members, and walk-ins are welcome too. There will be something interesting for everyone, from kids to adults. We will have henna art, Indian dances, vocal performances, arts and crafts display, and a vibrant fashion show representing the bridal wear from different regions of India. You will also get an opportunity to taste some delicious Indian cuisine. India is a diverse country. From language to food to dressing style, the country has been hailed as one of the most complex amalgamation of various cultural identities. On India Day, we strive to showcase a little bit of that diversity and how, in spite of that, we remain a close-knit culture. This is a completely free event. Please join us with your family and friends for a fun-filled afternoon. Again, this is on Sunday, January 31st at 2 p.m. at the library. Hope to see you there. Thank you and namaste.
Hi, I'm Sharon Riley Morosi, Assistant Director for the East Brunswick Department on Aging, and this is the Voice of Experience. We are here today with Frank Neary. Frank is a traffic safety educator with Mid-Atlantic AAA, and he is here to talk about defensive driving. Frank, what can you tell us about defensive driving?
Defensive driving basically comes down to two principles. One is paying attention to what's going on around you, which some people do very well, some people don't. And the other one is managing your distances, which means keeping a good distance away from the vehicle in front of you, managing your space, things like that.
Now, we've had a very mild winter. We have not had any reason to drive in bad weather, but should that happen this winter, what could you offer people?
I'm sure it will catch up with us at some point. I would say, in addition to the things I said about defensive driving, increase your distances when you're following somebody. If you don't have to go out, don't go out. Staying home is always the safest thing to do, and driving in bad weather.
And the other thing that we hear a lot about is aggressive driving and road rage. What can you tell us about that?
Aggressive driving and road rage are actually two very different things. Aggressive driving is driving in a manner that, well, is probably maybe breaks a traffic law here or there. It's aggressive and it's annoying to other drivers. Road rage, on the other hand, can be a criminal offense where maybe if somebody cuts you off and you then chase them down and cut them off to get them back. The first incident of them cutting you off was aggressive. The second instance of you tracking them down and cutting them off on purpose was road rage.
What would you suggest to someone who feels like they've been a victim of road rage? What should they do?
If they're an active victim of road rage, meaning the vehicle is still following them or something like that, then I would say do not drive home, do not go to work. You want to drive to a public place, preferably a police station, something like that, and try and get the attention of as many people as you can. That's your safest bet.
Okay. And a little earlier we talked about the difference between younger and more experienced drivers. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, probably the biggest difference between new drivers and more experienced drivers is that the experienced drivers, even though they don't know they're doing it, they're driving in a very highly cognitive way, which means they're paying attention to all the things going on around them, trying to predict what all of the obstacles, vehicles, pedestrians, traffic signals, road conditions, where all of that is going to be in 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds. Whereas new drivers, and we have to try and break them of this, is they pay attention to the brake lights of the car in front of them. And when that car brakes, they know they have to slow down. They're not predicting all the other things that can go wrong.
Frank, tell us a little bit about distracted driving.
That's a very, very big topic. There are many, many different things that can distract us while driving. Some of them we can avoid, some of them we can't avoid. Generally, I like to break it down to three types of distractions. There are visual distractions, things that can take our eyes away from the road, and this could be glancing down at the radio or maybe looking at the road signs to try and find your way where you're going. There are physical distractions, things that take your hands off of the wheel. That could be adjusting the radio station. That could be drinking a cup of coffee. Again, things that are perfectly legal but can still be distracting and cause crashes. And then the last one is cognitive distractions. Those are things like carrying on a conversation with your passenger or things like that. All of those things are legal, but can still cause crashes. It's when you do acts that combine multiple different types, like things are physical and visual or cognitive and visual, things like that. The examples of that are texting while driving. It takes your eyes off the roadway, it takes your hands off the wheel, and it distracts your attention. Another thing would be DWI. That impairs your vision, your physical ability, your cognitive ability. And that's where it really gets dangerous, and that's where it's usually specifically illegal by statute in New Jersey.
Now, what about cell phones? You mentioned texting. What do you think about even hands-free equipment?
Hands-free equipment, it depends on the technology you have available in your vehicle and how comfortable you are with it. Texting, it's not very common these days to see the technology that will allow texting while driving in a legal way. It does exist. It's not as common as it should be, and it still takes some, you still have to press buttons and you still have to know when to talk and wait for the beep and things like that. But texting in and of itself, the way most people do it is incredibly distracting and incredibly dangerous, and in some studies say more dangerous than driving while intoxicated.
Frank, if someone wanted to get more information and get in touch with you, how would they do that?
They could go to our website, which is www.aaa.com/foundation. There's a lot of information about the programs we have and different types of driving issues that come up, and also how to contact us, and we can maybe come out and do a program for whoever it is interested.
Well, Frank, we thank you for taking the time to share your knowledge with us today. If you would like more information about programs and services available through the East Brunswick Department on Aging, then please call us at 732-390-6896. And please remember, the East Brunswick Department on Aging is here to help you and yours age successfully.
Do you tinker, create art or technology, or have a hands-on hobby? Everyone is a maker, and we're looking for you. On Saturday, March 19th, 2016, we will hold our second annual Maker Fest. We want you to bring your projects or demonstrate on hands-on skill that you'd like to teach to others. Please submit your proposal at ebpl.org/maker. The deadline is Saturday, January 30th.